This is Abnormal Entertainment.
2, 3, 4. Walked into the tunnel just to find the light. Hunted for old demons, looking for a fight. Looked up at the stars, seemed to go forever. There must be a way, it all fits together. Fell into the quicksand, held on to the vines. Never could quite color, stay within the lines. Feels like I have wings, I can fly wherever. This is just a way, it all fits together. Finally saw the world through rose-colored glasses. Gonna share my journey to small and large masses. Give up on my life, no sir, me never. This is how I put it together. This is how I put it together. This is how I put it together.
Hey everybody, this is Daniel Garza. Welcome to another episode of Put Together. I'd like to start as usual thanking my producer, Mr. Kevin Morris, for his help and support. Thank you, sir. Go check us out at abnormalentertainment.com, where you can find all the shows on the network. Today, I have a really good friend of mine. It seems like weird because I haven't known you that long, but I already consider you like one of my best friends.
Appreciate that.
Like we seem to have connected like really quickly. I'm gonna butcher your last name if Labile?
Labile, yeah.
Labile, right? Gio Labile, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing really well. How you doing?
Gio and I met on a Facebook page on Laguna Beach Locals, right?
Yeah, we connected that way, but I met at the restaurant before,
right.
And then we really never connected, but then...
That's right, yeah. Go ahead.
And then I don't know how it started, like the conversation, but yeah, then we decided to meet through Facebook.
Yeah, somebody posted something political, and I made a comment, and then you made a comment, and we kind of like backed each other up on it.
I remember now.
And then I had met you, and I wanted to come in and do an interview, and it just never really happened. And then we finally connected. He was like, come have tacos. So you had me at tacos.
I did. I can tell. I saw right away in your eyes, and when I say taco, your eyes just lit up. And
and then I went over there, and so for those of you wondering where we're talking about, Laguna Beach Brewery and Grill, which probably by the time this airs, it might have been going through some changes. We're not sure yet, but depending on where this airs out, you might want to check because it might have changed styles a little bit. I'm hoping there'll be still some tacos eventually.
Always.
Okay, good. Because I will never go back if there's no tacos.
Yeah, me too. That's great. I'm out of here.
And then for those of you who have been following along, when you guys have heard me talk about Lunch with the Guys, Gio is one of the guys. So I was very excited that you were a part of that. Plus, you're very good on camera. You have a great way of expressing yourself. You have a unique perspective on relationships and children, which really brought a whole different insight to the show. So I appreciated that.
It was fun. It was a great experience for me. It was my first time, and I was a TV show virgin, and
Pop.
I'm glad that it worked out for all of us.
So, and that's another project that's out of Little Mexican Productions. So if you're wondering what's Lunch with the Guys, we're going to air the first episode, and then there is already conversations about having more episodes. So I hope Gio will join us in that and be one of the regular panelists on Lunch with the Guys. So
I will be the official guy.
Oh, you'll be an official guy, yeah.
Official guy.
You're still kind of on trial right now.
Yeah.
But thank you for being here. I appreciate
thank you for having me.
So let's get started because I feel there's a lot to talk about in your life.
Oh, man.
Gio, tell us how you put it together.
Put me on the spot there. Well, the first thing that I feel like I fell in love with in my life, like who I wanted to become was a bartender.
Huh.
So one of my best friends started working into a bar. You know, in Italy we have cafeterias. So you do like your breakfast for people, and in the meantime you do a cocktail or two, and it just was fascinating to me. It was this combination between art and almost acting.
Okay.
Like behind the bar, you know, and then you get to meet all these people, and you get to learn all these habits that they have, right? And then be able to do something before they even get to the bar, and see their face, and it was just fascinating to me.
Okay.
So that's what I did. Started working in a restaurant when I was 12.
12.
12, yeah. I started washing dishes, and moved my way to the bar by the age 14. And you know, I took my job most seriously, and I, you know, we didn't have much internet back then, but there were like, you know, bartending books, and I just read it, and it was interesting to me because I sucked at school, right? I was really bad at school, but I would memorize cocktails and the history of it just like a sponge. And it was like, you know, and I realized there wasn't much that school wasn't good, or it wasn't the way school was done. It was not interesting to me. Right. They were just doing things, and when something was interesting, like I like history, and, you know, I couldn't read 4 books, but I will tell the story back to the teacher, and she will still give me a bad grade because she said, you didn't study. You just told me the story. I told you back to me. Right. So, I applied what apparently my memory and my passion to one field, which was bartending. And people start noticing that I was different. You know, everywhere I went to work, they always said that like my cocktail or whatever I was doing, it was just better, and people came coming back for it, and kind of made a name for myself by the age 18. So I started working in at the beach, this Lido, and then a couple from the United States came to visit me, and then they had a little cabana there. It was like the Geo Spa, where at night it was just me inside this pineapple looking thing, and I was making cocktails for the people, and then people used to come to see me, and we had a little music, and that's how I met Jonathan and Maria Thomas, and connected with them, and that's how I came to the States.
So you're, I guess, like a lot of us creative people, you're like a hands-on, like you have to create,
right,
to be connected.
Well, it wasn't just about creation; it's about also connecting other people together, right? And then almost put up what, you know, a persona for different occasion and different setup, and you know, you can't act in a certain way with some people. You can tell right away, you know, they come across a little cold. You'll be professional about it, and you know, they'll notice it. These people that maybe don't want to be too much into a conversation, if you are be able to understand it and be very professional about it, you might be able to put a smile by the end of the service.
And that's
to
an
them,
art
right?
form.
Right. So when you come across too outgoing to these people, they might be bugged by it. So the experience is being outgoing is not necessarily a bad thing, but to know when to be or push the limit, right, and not to do it. That's where the art comes.
Yeah, and the way that I can relate to that is doing the interviews. Like I don't interview everybody the same way. You got to figure out what the angle is to make sure that the story comes out natural. So yeah, I get it. Except I don't serve alcohol here. There's no drinks.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're working on it.
After hours. Only the after hour interviews. So then you're 18 and you get invited to come to the States. Do you right away say yes? Or?
No, I started working there at 18. I came in the States years after.
Oh, okay.
But I came here when I was 25.
Okay.
I skipped a few years until I got there. But, when I came here, I was married.
Oh, okay.
To this beautiful Italian lady. And I didn't speak any English.
Really?
I didn't speak any Spanish either.
So when you were 25, which was a year ago?
Sure.
You did? Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I came and I used to make, so my ex-wife found a job in a gelato place. And, it was basically next street over the brewery. And I used to work at the brewery at night and I used to be a bar back, even though I knew my job, I couldn't communicate. So I kind of start from the bottom. And then in about 6 months, I got communicative. I could start talking to people and, start, moving up to bartending. And after a year, I was a manager.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was making ice cream in the morning. I mean, gelato, no ice cream. So I was working in the morning with my ex-wife and at night I would work at the brewery.
Wow. So it took you then about a year to get acclimated to, and was that here in Orange County?
It was at the brewery.
Oh, here at the brewery. Oh, okay. Here at Laguna Beach. Okay. So it took you that's really impressive.
Well, maybe. Maybe it's just, I got lucky too. It's, like the fact that I couldn't speak English, could speak anything but English, definitely helped to be like full immersed into the language and, having, Spanish speaking people with me because it's close enough to Italian and they will spend a lot of time in explaining to me words, right? I would be just blasting them with questions, and then they would reply to me in Spanish. Therefore, I picked up Spanish and English in the same time. So it was a blessing, and I have to thank a lot of people to help me out with that. But as far as impressive, I think I think all of us have the capability, especially it's not like an extreme situation, but it's not the easiest setup. For example, if you're a Spanish-speaking person, if you come to California, you don't have to necessarily learn English.
Right.
And it happens all the time because the environment is not as hostile, right? Like you pretty much got Spanish everywhere you go. You got Spanish TV, radio. You don't have to. And it happens often that people only speak Spanish, especially the older generation.
Right.
With me, I didn't have that. So, it was good because obviously I got to learn 2 more languages.
Yeah. And that's, my parents, we moved to Texas in 73 and my mom has Alzheimer's now, but up until when she was able to communicate, she never learned English. Well, now, disclaimer story. My mom, when she first started to fall into the Alzheimer's, we would speak English around her to talk about her, and she would correct us in Spanish. And we're like, did she know English all this time? And she was just lying to us, and that's how she like figured out.
Well, for example, my wife can, she doesn't speak Italian fluently, but she understands everything, right? Yeah. So I think that's what happens to a lot of Spanish-speaking people. They eventually get it and they understand everything, right? But they just maybe don't have the courage to try.
Yeah. So you're here a year later, you're speaking English, you're speaking Spanish, you're working at this restaurant, bartending. Was it easy?
It came pretty much natural to me because I never had the chance to actually apply all my knowledge. European drink a lot different from Americans. So a lot of things that I study, which is from IBA, International Bartender Association, are historical heritage, and kind of how people drink here. For example, I might have made 2 martinis in my whole life in Europe.
Huh.
Right? And here martini is just on a daily basis.
Right.
So it was a lot of knowledge and not much practice of it.
Okay.
And they made me also give me the chance to just step up my game as far as a bartender. So it came natural, and it also gave me the chance to evolve as a bartender. In 2013, I was recognized by the Tasting Panel, the Tasting Panel magazine, which is a nationwide magazine, as the cover.
Oh, wow.
They call me the Liquid Chef. And again, that happened pretty much organically. I met this guy named Rado Dravosky, is the owner of HB Spirit. He presented to me this liquor called Tatra Tea, and I fell in love with it. I thought it was great. It was a very interesting liquor, and it's based with tea and botanicals. So as soon as I tasted it, I just wanted to mix with it, and I made this cocktail called Tatra Love, and with fresh berries, flowers, champagne, and very flamboyant looking cocktail, which European love that, great presentation and look. And he tasted it and he said, like, this is the best cocktail I ever had in my life.
Wow.
So he asked me to start working with them. We started working together. We put on events for thousands of people. And then I was recognized for my cocktail by this magazine, which was a milestone for me. And, coming with not speaking any English and be able to be recognized, in a magazine about restaurant and bar nationwide. It was a big deal.
Because just listening to your story, you want to be a bartender when you're a kid.
Right.
You get to do it in Italy, then you come to America, you get to do it here, and then you get recognized. I mean, that's like.
Yes, it was.
So, okay, from my side, watching, it's like, you reach this level. Now what? Like, do you, like?
So, my goal, it's kind of funny. My goal in life, I'm not necessarily looking to be rich. A lot of people chase the idea of money, right? That's not necessarily my goal. Even though money are important and definitely makes your life a lot easier. If I get to do what I love and then be able to support my family with it, that's what I really care. Everything else that comes with it, it's all good. As far as I'm concerned now, my goals are not necessarily work oriented. After I became a father, my goals is to prepare my children for the future, and to be the best husband and father that I can be. So my focus shift from the restaurant. It's not that I don't love or I don't care as much. I still do and enjoy and I love it. But now I have a different part of my life that I didn't have before, which it needs a great deal of time and discipline. Yeah. Because one thing that being a father taught me, like, having a children is I have to walk my talk, right? You can't just say something and, like our parents said, do what I say, but don't do what I do.
Right.
No, you gotta do what you say. Because you're setting the sample for future generation. And I learned, unfortunately, that mistakes that our parents, what, people like to talk about is ghosts, right? Like your demons
Right.
of the past, do carry over.
Yeah.
Right. So, and it can shape your life in a way that it can be either make you or break you. And I just don't want my kids to go through that.
Right.
So a great, so I love my job, and I do with as much love as I always have. But my focus, it's not necessarily my job. I used to work to live. I used to basically work was my life.
Right.
Right. Now I use work to be able to live a life.
Got it. So you moved here when you were like 25, just kind of to recap it. How old were you when your kids came around? When your kids were born? When they came around, like they showed up at the door and knocked on the door.
I met my wife in 2011. My second wife. I broke up with my first wife 2009.
Okay.
Took separate ways, and we were different, and then we got married so young, and we came to a country, and they also shaped us in different ways, and so I kind of wandered for a couple of years and tried maybe to like work things out, but it was just not working. And when I realized there was some work, a lot of work that I had to do. There was like things about myself, I couldn't recognize myself anymore, right? I kind of got lost. So when I started working about things that I didn't like about myself, and like really focusing about my personality, where I stand, and I met my wife, and her little girl, Avery, she was 2 when I met them.
Okay.
Avery was 2. My wife was 24. Just to make sure. And I actually met Avery first in church. And I remember seeing this little girl, and she's so beautiful, and it's just like, it was something about her, and I thought to myself, if I ever have a kid, I hope it looks like her, right?
Wow.
That was a thought of mine. But I really didn't talk to her mom because I thought she was married, and I wanted to be respectful, and I already had too many troubles in my life, and I was trying to focus on myself. And then I found out that she was a widow, and I thought it was okay to say hi, and we started talking, and we went out once we went to BJ's, out of all places. And we talked until like 5 a.m.
Wow.
And she has a very interesting life story, and we never left each other.
That was it.
That was it.
Now let me ask you before, because you just brought something up that I've always been curious about. For instance, I was born in Mexico, moved to Texas, but then I went back to Mexico to do junior high and high school. When I came back at about 18, coming back to Texas as an adult per se, there were things about me that I noticed. Like there were things that I did in Mexico that I just didn't do in Texas anymore. Like that, because of the environment, because of the way life is led, like different aspects of my personality would pop out that I was like, I've never been that way, but because of the condition, maybe my sexuality, the people that I ran around with, more drinking, whatever it was that led me to look at myself and go, I didn't do this in Mexico because I was so maybe pressured into living a certain lifestyle. When you moved from Italy to the States, did your personality change? Were there any aspects of your life that, like, of your personality that you were like,
Oh, most definitely.
yeah,
Most definitely. There were, just like you mentioned, there was a certain restriction and responsibility, and I always worked, right? So I never had the chance to and I got married very young. So when I came here, I went through my party scene, right? And it's one of the reason why me and my first wife didn't work out really well, because we kind of both went through this stage, and there was a lot of curiosity around,
right,
and there were a lot of things. But at the end of the day, there were also things as far as dressing different, get adjusted to how United
right.
States is, and I was made fun of to have my polo shirt with this,
Right.
and I was like, what are you doing? And just put it down. And, so there was a lot of things that definitely I changed about me, or I discovered about me. But at the end of the day, I think that's process of life.
Right.
No matter where you go, and I'm kind of regressing to who I am as a child.
Really?
Yes. But with, one thing I was, my teenager years, I found out, is the world will, you'll be, when you're a kid, you just, with your parents, and then, that's all when you start going to school, and, the life it's kind of like the Pinocchio story when you become a little jackass, right?
Right.
You get alterated, and then start talking funny, you start thinking funny, you say things that, to your parents you never dreamed of saying. And I realized, maybe when I was about 16, and I'm like, I'm really not that good anymore. Like, I was a kid, and I loved the way I thought about things. Right? It was
Right.
very pure, and it was all about love. And I was like, and now I'm just this angry kid, right? And then I had these thoughts, and I'm like, older people are no better than younger people, right? That was my thinking. It was, I'm not getting better. Yes, I'm finding out about other things, right? I'm getting exposed to a lot of things, and my knowledge is growing.
Right.
But as far as a person, I felt better by myself as a child.
Right.
So now that I'm older, my goal is to go back to that child, but with wisdom, right? Be able to harness my knowledge, but be that good person.
Do you think that having your own kids helps in that? Because I've always imagined, I don't have kids, obvious, but I was raised around my sister's kids, and seeing the world through their eyes, sometimes allowing myself to see it through their eyes, you're like, you discover things again.
Absolutely. The fact, as we grow older, we've seen so much stuff, right? So it's hard to be surprised, though. But seeing the things through the eyes of a 2 years old, and
right,
it just makes you relive those moments and see their face and their surprise, and wow, it's just a flower, a butterfly, and it's a beautiful experience. And if you're able to appreciate it, if you take your time to do this with your kids. And
last summer, I think it was last summer, we were in South Texas to take my nephew's son, who's our great nephew, who was 6 years old then, with the shopping, and just walking through the mall and having him get on little rides, just to get on one of those 25-cent motorcycles.
Right.
and just watch him.
So exciting.
I mean, I always wanted to push him and me get on the motorcycle, but I didn't. I did. But just to watch, and you're thinking, those were exciting when I was a kid.
Right.
You think kids nowadays are not going to get for that. But he got on there and he was like, no hands, no hands. You're like, oh my God, that's so much. I'm getting chills right now as I talk about it. But it made me appreciate life a little bit, right, and go, okay, everything that I'm stressing about really has like no foundation. I'm making it stressful to feel adult, to put some worry.
Life is stressful, man. I don't think life is stressful, and a lot of times it's tragic. But if you're able to appreciate things through the eyes of a child,
yeah,
those moments are precious.
Yeah. So don't go out there and grab a child. For those of you listening, we're talking to Gio. Don't go out and like take a child and just make sure you
start making babies.
Yeah,
out of nowhere.
Ask permission first before you take anybody's children onto the mall. But so you have now 2 kids?
I got a 9 years old. Avery is 9 now, and then me and my wife had Aubrey 3 years ago.
Correct.
So we got 2 girls. Even my dog is a female.
So you're all surrounded by.
There's so much hormones in my house.
How does that? Okay, I'm gonna throw this out there and correct me if I'm wrong. Because Italian, Mexicans, we all kind of have that same kind of machismo, like manly thing going on.
Right.
How does that function for you with a house full of women?
It doesn't. It just doesn't. Yeah, I learned that doesn't work. Actually, before I had some of that when I first got married with my wife, and especially with my wife because she had a pretty traumatizing youth.
Okay.
Their machismo does not work at all with her, and it actually makes things a lot worse, right?
Yeah.
So I learned to, and in general, I think it's important to stand up for yourself, but you don't need to do screaming or being
on your chest
necessarily. Yeah, like you don't have to do that. And so I kind of, I still fight it at times, because everybody wants, sometimes you just want to let it go and lose it. And, but I definitely don't do that around my family. Sometimes for work reason, I have to kick someone out. If I'm asking you kindly to leave the establishment.
Right.
And sometimes I have to use force because you're not. Funny enough, last Saturday I had something like that happening to me.
Oh.
And before I wouldn't think twice to just pick up the guy and throw him out. And I didn't. And I didn't because I couldn't stop thinking about my kids.
Got it.
And I tell the guy, man, you're too intoxicated. You got to leave. And he didn't want to leave. And he's like, he wanted to get, confrontational with me. And I told him like, maybe a couple of years ago I would, my man, but I got kids now. I'm just going to go to the police.
Right.
And the guy's like, you have kids? It's like, yeah, I have kids too.
Wow.
And I'm like, well, if you care about your kids, you love your kids. Like, yeah. So why do you want to get in a fight? And he's like, I just like the music. I know, I understand it, man, but you're just too intoxicated. You can fall. You can hurt someone. You can hurt yourself. I just can't have you here. I'm sorry. And he's like, okay, man. And he left.
Wow.
It was pretty powerful. So it made me wonder how many times I could have handled things that way and I didn't.
Because we live right now, we're in a time where male and females we're so equal, and we've always been equal. But I think we're coming to an age where it's like people are finally realizing like women and men can really match up to each other, both sometimes physically and sometimes mentally. And if you really give each other a chance, what I'm trying to get to is, as a dad of two young girls, is it important for you to put out the image of what you want them to, if they choose boys, what you want them to look for? Does that make sense?
I mean, yeah, that's one of the reasons why I took seriously the fact that I had to be a good father.
Yeah.
The example. And, because one day when they're, if they decide to start a relationship with someone, they will have someone to compare with.
Right.
Right. So, and obviously I want my kids to have a good man.
Right.
So I have to be I'm not perfect, but I have to be the best man I know.
Because that's why I sometimes talk to friends of mine who have kids, and I'm like, they're like, no, we never argue, we never discuss in front of them. I'm like, but that's part of life too. Kids need to learn how to discuss, how to have a conversation, how to debate things, how to question life. And if you don't show them that as a kid, we have kids in colleges now that have no idea how to take care of themselves because they've never learned. People have been hiding those things from them. I remember not necessarily watching my parents fight because they would take that private, but I remember sitting at the table and watching them discuss money or plans or a trip, and that taught me how to debate things and how to sit with somebody and go, hey, look, let's talk about this versus let's just yell.
One thing that I also do especially with Avery, my oldest one, is try to reason with her. Try to just like you would with an adult, I would with my wife. If you try to make a point, I try to make her go to the conclusion versus me telling her,
right,
look, this is right and this is wrong. Because that only works for so long, and when you're a kid, everything is what mom and daddy told you. But then when you're exposed to society, there is so much information about everything out there, right?
Yeah.
So you have to come up with your own conclusion. You can put the foundation for it, but if they don't have the right, if they don't know how to reason, right, they come out with some very sometimes stupid conclusion in life, right? So you wanna make sure that everything. What I tell we are religious people, and I don't believe in the mystery of faith. We were studying with my family last night, and I told Avery, look, you don't have to accept something without
question.
You have to accept things according to the best available reason. Right. So evolution is something taught in school, right? But as an evolutionist, if you're honest about it, you have to start from the assumption that everything came from nothing. Right. You can't go around that. You can't prove that evolution is a fact when it comes to okay, how it happened though, right? How the Big Bang came about? What was the reason? They don't have. It's an assumption, right? And if we believe in God, you choose to believe in God, you have to start from the assumption that we believe that a God exists. Right? That's an assumption. You can't prove it. You can see the evidence of, and you can have a good argument. So does evolution. They show some sort of evidence and they have a good argument. At the end, it is your job is as you to decide which one is the best argument. What accept is truth, and what truth you accept for yourself.
Got it. That's pretty cool. I admire that because a lot of parents, and I grew up with a lot of those parents, watching them this is the way it is. Don't question it. Do as I say. And then my parents were kind of like, one of the things that I admire my parents, they were not school educated, but they had a lot of street smart. And one of the things that they really I appreciate the day with me was, as far as religion was concerned, was we were raised Catholic. I still believe in Catholicism, but my parents were like, if you don't want to go with us to church, just go somewhere. Like, it's Sunday, go somewhere. So I had Baptist friends, I had Mormon friends, I had Latter-day Saint friends, and they were like, you want to go with us to church today? And I was like, hey, they invited me to go to church. My dad's like, just go. Like, we don't care where you go. God's everywhere.
Let's do something.
Go find him. And growing up, at least from the time I was like 8 to about 12, I was able to visit different churches and gather up my personal information and go, oh wow, I really dig that. Like, oh, that sounds like what we learned. And now as an adult, I can sit and listen to people's religion without going, no, because I know kind of where the
Right. And you know, I think especially for people, you know, I just don't believe that morals just came from nowhere. Right? How do we came about figuring out, you know, what is right or what's wrong, you know, and you know, especially Western culture are based on Judeo-Christian foundations, right? We have the separation between church and state, and that's important. It gives us, each one of us, the right to decide for ourselves. But the morals were the Western civilization was based on, like things like the golden rules, treat others like you want to be treated, and you know, are based on those on the book of the Bible. And you know, even people that don't necessarily believe in God or clinical psychologists extract a lot of good things out of the Bible, right? So as morality and how you should behave, and so no matter what you believe, or if you believe in God, there is a lot of great information you can gather in, you know, in setup like you experience, right? You got a little bit of there, like a little bit of that, and it's like, wow, that's cool. And probably apply those information in your life and make your life a lot better.
Well, right? One of the things that, and we're almost at the 45 mark, but one of the best things I believe was knowing in my heart that God loves me, that he wants the best for me. We were not raised in a house of fear God. We were like, God loves you. Like he's not there to just wait. He's not waiting with the finger on the button, waiting for you to make a mistake to like zap you. Like he's there to like praise you, and going to different churches made me realize that, and my ex-boyfriend used to say this, I am perfect in my imperfection, that I am not meant to be perfect. I'm just meant to do the best I can in this life. Have I always done it? No. But as soon as I got the handle on it, I was like, okay, let's do the right thing now.
Right. And it's also up to you how deep you want to go into learning about God. And you know, there is the Bible is a great book, is also a big book, and it is if you don't read it in the context, a lot of things can seem strange, and so it's up to you how much do you want to take out of it. If you want to just take a portion of it and that's good enough for you, it's only you can make the choice for yourself when it comes to that. Which
is a good segue to saying that from what I know about you, you do a great life of pulling out of life the best. I've very rarely seen you frown or too stressed out. You may be a good actor, but
I might be.
But this kind of brings us to the 45-minute mark. This is where I ask my guests to share some words of wisdom with my listeners. So, Gio, Labile, what words of wisdom would you like to share?
Oh man, I thought I was doing this all along.
Yeah, I meant the extra special words of wisdom.
The extra special word of wisdom. I feel cornered right now.
Good.
Man, I I think that, again, life can be tragic at times. And it's hard. We live in a really hard environment at times. And, but there's a lot of beauty in it as well. And as a human, we're always concerned about, what we can do about these big problems, right? I believe that, bigger problem can be fixed from us. Like we can make our life a little better if we just strive to be better people, right? So like, if me, you, our neighbors, try to apply the best reasonable information about how to be a good person, take responsibility in our life, I think all of us collectively can create a better society, right? So, and then probably get to bigger problem. But I think the problem in society right now, there we are tackling the big problem, and we don't realize that the smaller problem are causing those big problems. Right. Those needs to be fixed first. For example, personally parenting. If we take our job as a parent to be the best parents we can be, I think that can make the life of our kids and the world a lot better.
Cool. Next question. In the book of Gio and Labile, when they write your biography, what will be the first sentence in the book?
The best old fashioned I ever had.
I like that. If you could name this episode, what would you name it?
Two Friends Talking.
I like that. What's the best advice you got before you left Italy? As he thinks.
Be careful.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't have a lot of word of wisdom, but older culture wisdom are a lot more concentrate than how much do we articulate things nowadays. So they were able to in few words they can be lost in translation.
Right.
Tell you like a life lesson. But in that's the best translation I can give. Yes. Just be careful.
Yeah, I think I don't know about your connection with your parents, but like my dad, he can, even now when he's starting to hit the dementia, there's a lot that he says with one look that I think it's a generational thing. A lot of kids nowadays, they don't really give a crap. Yeah. But I'm 48 and I still remember my dad could look at me across a room or at the store, just look at me, and that was all I needed.
And then with a whip.
Yeah.
That was like, oh, that hurts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
I was like, go ahead.
I relate to that, yeah.
Yeah. Because my mom would be like, yeah, she was the spanker. My mom was the one that would spank me. But if she said, wait till your dad gets home, I knew that it was beyond her. Like, I was really going to get it.
Right.
That's all I needed to hear your dad.
Yeah, my mom was the whipper too. Like, she was also the one that gave you the stare. My dad was not much of a staring person. He would just slap you out of nowhere. But, you didn't see it coming. My mom, you saw it coming for a mile. Yeah.
I laugh because I can relate. What was the first myth that was broken when you moved to America?
Oh man, the first myth,
or one of the first, like the big, or maybe the biggest. Like you moved to America, you're like, wait a minute, this isn't the way it was on TV.
I had a lot of cultural shock, but some things I just didn't know about it. I don't know if a myth broken, but
Or misconceptions. Let's go with that. If you want.
I can't really think of one. But what I do remember was coming to Laguna Beach, especially.
Okay.
I remember people saying hi to me and how are you, and for no reason, right? It's just you walking down the street and someone says hi to you, which we don't do in Italy. Right? I only say hi to you if I know you.
Okay.
And if you say hi to me and I don't know you, I feel that I don't know you, I might stop you and I ask you, like, do I know each other? Like, do we know each
Really?
other? Like, why did you say hi to me, right? And here
You're looking at me?
I know. And right. But it's not like a bad thing. It's like we don't really necessarily mean anything bad. It's just like, if you say hi to me, therefore we know each other. And I'm probably don't remember that. And can you remind me, right? Here, and that is not all over the United States, but here, I experienced that. And for whatever reason, I love that. I love the fact that the stranger would say hi to me and hi, how are you? And I adopted that really quickly. And I still do today. I think is a very friendly way of welcoming strangers, or say hi to someone and maybe make someone day. Very easy way of doing it. But the difference is when you're a friend in Italy, when we are a friend, we're family.
Okay.
Here is just, it seemed to be an appearance of being friends, but then don't really care much. It was like, if we could combine the both worlds, that's my thought about, United States and Italy at times. If we could combine the both worlds, it would be such a beautiful place, right?
Right.
But I didn't really have any broken myth. My broken myth was Mexican food. That was it.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's 100%. Italians, for whatever reason, I grew up, maybe because we watch, California, a lot of California movies and sitcoms, and there was a lot of Mexican. I always dreamed about Mexico. And one time I went to Milan and I found this place called Cantina Mariachi. And the food was so fake, right? And I was like, man, this is Mexican food. And then when I came here and I tried Mexican food, I was like, oh, this is Mexican food, not that crap.
Yeah.
So that was funny enough. It wasn't an American thing; it was a Mexican thing.
Yeah.
I fell in love with the Mexican culture.
I'm thinking of Texas, so you can get like better Mexican food.
I mean,
in California.
I don't think we're too shabby here.
No. Well, okay. Let's because we have to like make the disclaimer. Laguna Beach Brewery is a Mexican restaurant, and the food is excellent. Outside of there, there's some places that I'm kind of like, what are you guys doing with this?
Right. No, I feel you on that one. I mean, I married a Mexican, so my wife doesn't cook, but her aunt does.
Okay.
And so I've been exposed to house-made pozoles and tamales, and I just love the culture. I mean, it's the food, and like I'm.
Yeah, like most Latino countries, Mexican food is from the heart.
Right.
It has to have heart.
So we had tortilla chips. I didn't know what to do with it. Like I didn't know about guacamole. Can you believe that?
How sad.
Like I didn't know about fresh salsa. It was like, okay, now I know what to do with this. And it's, it's my favorite food: chips and salsa and guacamole.
The funniest thing is when we go visit friends in the Midwest, and the first thing they want to do is, can we take you to this Mexican restaurant we go to? Can you tell us if it's authentic? And I was we're in Indiana. It's not authentic. Like,
most likely.
No. But then you walk in and it's like a little Mexico because everybody in there speaks Spanish.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I've told this story before. There was one restaurant in Portland that we went to, and the friends that took us were like, this is our favorite place. We've been coming here for 7 years. It's wonderful. Taste the salsa, which to me was like watery tomato sauce.
Like the Victoria sauce.
And I was like, this is, no. So the server, who's also the manager, her name, and I still remember her name was Martha, because I always ask servers' names, and I was like, Martha, come here. So, hey, Martha, and I told her in Spanish, like, is this, like, you have other salsas in this, right? She's like, you want the other salsas? I'm like, yes. So she runs to the kitchen, comes out with 2 little squirt bottles of salsas, a green and a red, and they were like spicy and delicious and thick, and our friends are like, we've never seen those salsas.
Because you don't ask questions.
Yeah, I go, it's a Mexican restaurant. There's always another salsa.
Right.
Because you guys have that habanero salsa in the back.
That's not for white people.
No, I have to, you have to ask for it.
I had to tell people, like, can I see your ID?
What's your last name?
You look way too white.
Can you sign this waiver before I give it to you?
You see people stress. Oh, it's good.
So, what's your next goal? What are you shooting for now?
Well, I have a few. I think I'm ready to open my own little place.
Yeah.
That would be nice. We also have some project with HP Spirit that I would like to collaborate. We have like, coffee company. We're still working with Tatra Tea, try to make that nationwide. So we have a few vodkas. I'm working on a tequila project.
Nice.
So yeah, I have a few things.
Good. Well, I'll say this on the air so that people know. When, again, the first time we met, you gave me this big old hug, and I was kind of like, I was thrown back because I usually don't hug guys unless I already know them. But you were so friendly, so genuine. Not to mention he bought me dinner that night, so it was great. Buy me tacos and I'm yours. Like, let's face it. But ever since then, and we kind of talked a little bit, not really in depth about the religious aspects and your life and my beliefs. And I had a doubt. I was like, wow, this guy is pretty religious. My sexuality, are we going to be friends? But you are so welcoming. You have such a welcoming energy. Never once have you made me doubt our friendship. And then when I put my dreams about the talk show out to you, when I was telling you about, like, this is what I want to do, the thing that made me fall in love with you as a friend was that you did not hesitate once to say, we'll do it here. Let's shoot here. And which was my idea, but I didn't know how to bring it up because I love the decor. And for those of you that don't know, you will see the video of Lunch with the Guys. But you were so supportive of my dreams that immediately like Gio, like top of the list right here, like top 5 friends, like, and then you wanted to be part of the project, and I was like, are you serious? Like, yeah.
Well, I feel if you have the power to do something, and you don't do it, you're not a complete person. Like, if you have the power to help someone to achieve a goal, if you can contribute to someone's life in no matter what it is, as long as your integrity is not compromised for whatever reason, that's what I think it means to be a good person. That's what I strive to be. And it's sometimes it can be, helping someone achieving their goals, and someone can be standing up for someone that can't.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily about kindness. Sometimes you have to be also strong, and I think the strength of a person is not to be just kind and kind of passive, is to have the strength to do something, right? you can have the strength to be dangerous,
Right.
but you don't use it to harm anybody, right? When someone has the strength to do things, they can be used for either way. You choose for the good. That's what I believe is a good person, right?
You, my friend, are definitely a good person.
Thank you.
Even the day I took my friend John to have dinner there, you came and sat with us for a little bit, and we were bantering back and forth and teasing each other. You walked away. Well, I took a photo and posted it on Facebook, and I'm like, we haven't known each other long, but like I always feel really connected to you. He commented on that. And he's like, you haven't known him long? I'm like, no. He goes, I thought you knew him for years. I'm like, that's what it feels like because he's already paying my ass. But he was so impressed with the way, and I attribute that to your openness to be my friend, and I appreciate that.
It has to be both ways. I appreciate you as well, because to be able to appreciate certain things, even your friend, you kind of have to have, you have to value those things, right? As a good things. So I think it's a connection between people that have similar view, right? It's not about me. It's about all of us.
Because I some of my best friends now and some of my dear friends now, we are able to put our personal choices, sexuality, religion, politics, which is what Lunch with the Guys is put all those things aside so we can actually have a conversation. And I know you people listening are like, what is this show? Wait till you see it. It's really great. Lunch with the Guys is that. Let's just talk about life without all those things that really don't have a solution or an answer or you don't always have to agree.
Right. They're not universal to everyone, but they might work for some of us.
Yeah. And then by all means, I've learned listening to you and talking to you and just watching you when I go to the restaurant and eat, and even if you don't come and sit with me, like just watching you work and interact with people, I'm learning, and I appreciate that.
Thank you so
I love
much.
that. So we're out of time. Any last thoughts?
No. It was pretty difficult. Put me on the spot a couple times.
I did not put you on the spot. These are easy questions. Thank you so much for coming over.
Thank you for having me.
For those of you that are listening, Mr. Gio Labile, manager, entrepreneur, businessman, look for him. I will post connections to him on our Facebook page. There are some surprises coming up at the Laguna Beach Brewery and Grill. I will keep you guys informed. Hopefully we can do some more stuff out of there. We will continue to do more Lunch with the Guys, and Gio will be part of that. He was awesome. I've gotten such good feedback. People who have seen it, and you'll see it before you leave today. People who have seen it are like, who is that guy? Like, they know me and they know Kai. For those of you that know Kai Kalama, who's been on the show, so they know us because we're always doing something. But you definitely stood out as the third one.
It's my accent.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
that's the only reason I got you on the show.
I took a class for it. I'm originally from Laguna Niguel.
Yeah, and their accent there is horrible.
I know. We're offering these Italian accent classes. I was like, I'll take it.
You should. I'm glad you did take it. You should go to the expert level now.
I know. I have to practice my Spanish one.
Thank you again for being on the show.
Thank you, friend.
For those of you listening, we've been talking to Mr. Gio Labile. Thank you to my producer, Mr. Kevin Moyers, for his help and support. Thank you, sir. Check us out at abnormalentertainment.com, where you can find all the shows on the network. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can find Put It Together Podcast on Facebook. Check out all the shows and links to my guests and things that they're doing. Check out Put It Together Conversations, which are live shows. We are doing those on Facebook Live with life coaches, and we've got some therapists coming on the show. We've got some spiritual leaders coming on the show. We're, again, Put It Together Conversations. These are shows to help you become better people. And if you want to do more on the spiritual side, we have Better You workshops, which we are doing more. I promise we'll have more episodes on that. Things have just been a little hectic, but we'll get those live also. For now, thank you, Gio, for being on the show. Thank you, everybody. This is Daniel Garza saying, hey, put it together.
This is how I put it together.
This is how I put it together.
This is how I put it together.
Subscribe to Put It Together on iTunes, Stitcher, and at abnormalentertainment.com/putittogether. Find Put It Together on Facebook and tweet Daniel at Lil Messican, LILMESICAN. And for more podcasts, comics, books, movies, and more, head to abnormalentertainment.com.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.